What's up, everybody? It's your man Danelle, aka Small Guy Promotions, aka the Omaha Fatty, coming with another podcast episode of What's Up Omaha. And today I have a brand new guest. Beth is with me today. Hello, Beth.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you
Doing
so much for
amazing.
asking.
Well, Beth is here for a very special reason. She has an event coming up here at the end of July, and I'll let her tell you a little more about it.
Okay. Do we want to start with the event or like,
Yeah, no, we want to get it.
all
We want to
right,
get
all
it out of
right,
the
all
way, and
right.
we'll
We're
come
gonna
back.
jump.
We'll circle back around at the end. But I just wanted to
Well,
make sure we got that out there.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So we're having a big event for the new bistro and bakery that we're opening. It's a customer and VIP event. It's gonna be like a different experience. Finger foods and just like a really fun time where you can come in and tour the new space and see what we're creating and really just be able to like experience kind of the vibe and like the feel of what's going to be like and get to eat a lot of great food. We're going to have a lot of fun gifts and prizes. It's going to be a party. We're going to have wine, sparkly wine, because that's my thing.
There you go.
And yeah.
Okay. And so we'll circle back around at the end with the all the details like the time and date and address. But we just want to give you guys a heads up right now. So you got to stick around for that part. Um, but yeah, so Beth, how did this come to be? It's two-parter. One, how did you begin your career in baking? And then two, how did this new location come to be?
Great question. So it's funny because people are always talking about like finding their thing, right? And nobody thinks they're gonna wait till what, 40, I'm 47, finding my thing at 47. We have kids, we expect them to know what they want to do at 18, which is crazy. But in 98, I was diagnosed with celiac. And back then, they did not tell you to change your food. They were just like, you're going to suffer, die, basically, like it's going to be miserable. And in 2005, my daughter had some like joint pain. So, of course, when it's your kids, you get on and you start researching like what could help.
Hmm.
And I found like back then it was not subreddit, but it would be like that now. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
That had talked about removing gluten. And so I kind of went like everything I do is like all or nothing. I don't know how you are about that, but that's how I am.
Yeah.
And so we went all out, got rid of all the packaged processed foods, gluten, everything, started making everything from scratch. Now, the crazy thing was is that at that time, I didn't even know how to boil water. And I didn't know that like potatoes didn't come from a box or that rice wasn't from a box as well. So I had a huge learning curve. And it took me a really long time. But over the years, just started like I have four kids that are celiac. So my kids would be like,
Whoa.
we want goldfish or we want Cheez Its or whatever. Yeah, four. It's crazy. Um, And so I'd be like, well, I can try to make this. And, testing and just like over the years started to find kind of like how to make things for them.
Yeah. Well, and I told this story before on my podcast, probably a couple of times. Shoot, I should call it the allergy friendly podcast because you are like my third or fourth guest that we've talked about celiac with. But so my daughter, and this was within the last 7 years because we've been in our current home for it'll be 7 years next month. But she had a birthday party, and one of the girls came over, and her mom had asked if the mom could stay, because her daughter has celiac. And I was like, "What is celiac?" I'm like, I hadn't heard. I've heard of gluten free and whatnot at this time, but I hadn't heard of celiac. And I'm like, what is that? So, I jumped to Google to find out more about it and whatnot. But since then, I mean, I feel like it's become more, maybe not necessarily a household topic now, but I mean, allergies in general have increased as time has gone on because of environmental changes or whatever it's been. But yeah. I think that's becoming more and more commonplace. And uh, personally, we have a dairy allergy in our home. Luckily, that's all that there is, and we can tend to find some good workarounds for that. I know celiac and gluten is a whole different universe when it comes to being prepared and knowing, what is it, what ingredients are in what you're eating. But we've had on my friends from O Cookios, who they have a
Yeah.
similar story. I don't know if you've ever tried any of their goodies, but they, have a child who had a gluten sensitivity. And then, Stacy from Vegetable, she's very big on having vegan options and being very allergy conscious foods. So yeah, the more that we have people like you who have children who really have a stake in having these products available, I think people will start to really come around to it and be I don't know if maybe prepared is the right word, but at least have some kind of knowledge of what celiac is or gluten-free allergy or whatever it is. So I think that as time goes on, we'll just keep talking about it.
For sure. Yeah, when I was first diagnosed, nobody knew about it. Now, and even, when you're talking about 7 years ago with that child, at that point, I would not tell anybody. I'd go to a restaurant and just order like a salad because I didn't want to explain what
Yep,
it was and like I didn't want to educate at dinner how to be able to eat safely. And really, that's kind of my mission is being able to have access to safe food.
yep,
Um, and that tastes good, right?
yeah.
Because why should we have to suffer bad food because we can't eat regular things? So, yeah.
Well, how did you make the jump from making things out of a box? And I know you said it took a while, but like, what did you do? Like, it's one thing to say, okay, I need to be conscious about what I'm making or what we're putting into our bodies, but how, like, it's not necessarily easy for a lot of people to cook and not only cook, baking is a whole different beast. Like, it's not, it's, baking takes a lot more care in some instances than regular cooking. So how did you make that big jump from being that person working in the kitchen just in those convenient meals to actually preparing real quality food?
Good question. I feel like it's with anything. Once you decide, you just you go all in, right? Like once I decided I bought like a cookbook, Rachel Ray's 15-minute meals. I swear to you, I had tabbed every single thing that I thought maybe I could make. And every single day I would make dinner from that book. And, most of the times it was a disaster. And we would toss it. But then, it's been a 20-year progression here. And over the years, the products, the flour, the ingredients, the knowledge, the people, other people in the space have changed so much that I feel like now it's easier to like jump in and give it a try.
Yeah.
Um, and processed foods have gotten so bad that it's almost like two polar opposite worlds of like food experience. And I teach classes so that it makes it easier to kind of get your feet wet and try things. I know I hear all the time, like, oh, I tried to make that and it was bad. It's like I tried 100 versions of a cinnamon roll
Yeah.
at least for over like 2 years before I got one that was like amazing. So it's just being committed to, being committed to, or just being a little crazy like most business owners.
Well, what's that testing process like? Was it something that you used the kids to be your taste testers? Were they telling you what was good and what wasn't when you started out?
Always. My kids are always my guinea pigs, right? It's actually my husband. So I wanted to test everything with people that eat gluten free and people that do not. My husband is not celiac, and he's a bit of like he's more of like a gourmet chef, and he can eat real like cinnamon rolls, right? Like he can go to Cinnabon. I've never eaten a Cinnabon. Um, I've never like I haven't had a donut, in 20 years. So I don't really know what it's supposed to taste like. But I start testing with my kids. They tell me everything is great. They love everything. I'm like, no, like I need you to be a little like critique this. But my husband, for that's why I tested the cinnamon rolls for so long. I would make one and he'd be like, nope, nope. And one day I give it to him. He's like, yep, whatever that recipe is, like, that's the winner. I'm like, I don't remember what I did because it had been so many iterations. But then I was able to like recreate it. And once I had the chocolate chip cookie and the cinnamon roll, then I
Staples.
started, yeah, like these two staples, right? I started like feeding all my friends and bringing, treats everywhere, just like, hey, let me know what you think. And everybody, it was always positive. And then I got started, like, people started asking me, like, can you make me 300 cupcakes? And my whole summer last year was like, yeah, of course. Like, oh, 300 cupcakes, that'll be great. Um, and it just like kind of snowballed from there.
Nice, nice. Well, your story doesn't seem to be too far off of what I'm used to hearing. There was and again, when you're thinking about starting a business, it's what solution can I bring to solve a problem? Like, what problem am I solving? And I think that definitely is a problem in people, again, not having those options, and not only those options, but those good tasting options. So for someone to be able to come along and do that, I think that is very appreciated by a very good community of people, and not only them enjoying the food, but being really appreciative that someone has made something for them. Because I can't imagine. I don't have any allergies. I can't imagine how tough it is to have a kid, and you have four that have, this thing that's not so common amongst other kids, and having to prepare lunches for them that are separate from all the other kids. And you know how kids are, and picking on people and whatnot,
Yeah.
or just even being concerned about the cross contamination or whatever it is. There's so many things to be worried about. But just to give some people that little relief where they can come in and just know that anything that they eat is going to be gluten free, I think that's a big burden being taken off their shoulders. So
Yeah.
kudos to you for doing that.
Thank you. It's really, it's like a dream of mine, right? To be able to walk in and see a whole spread of food, like maybe, cinnamon rolls or scones or sandwiches and pizza, and just experience what maybe you do every day, where you can walk in and choose anything you want
Yeah.
to eat in that place. That's what I want to create. I want to create like your typical experience for a celiac. Like
Yeah.
walk in, you can eat it all. It's like it's the ultimate dream when you have experience like not being able to do that, or walking in and then being like, we have one gluten-free item and maybe it's safe, maybe not. You might die later. I don't know. You might be sick for a week. You can't really like always trust. And people, no shame on that. Like they're trying to offer items that can help and cater to that community. But for us, or at least me, it always feels risky. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
just,
Well, and I know from our experiences going out, and my wife or I saying, "Hey, we have a dairy allergy. What are your options, or do I need to worry about that?" And they'll say, "You mean like eggs?" And it's like, No, dairy, like from a cow, like not a chicken, dairy." And so cheese, butter, and that's the thing too. Even when you say milk, they don't necessarily consider cheese or butter. So it's like you'll ask, and it's gotten better over the years, but it used to be, I don't know, let me go and check. And then they're like, oh, we're not sure. I mean, it still happens sometimes, but we're not sure. So you might just want to steer away from that. Or like, like, so you mean like mayo? And they were like, no, mayo is usually egg based, so it's cool. So just that whole education, there's a whole learning curve to that that people aren't used to because they don't have to consider that, and it makes sense. I am going to make sure to tell this is the young lady who was at our house for the birthday party. I see her. She's a softball player, so when I go to weight training, she is usually there. So I'm going to make sure to tell her to let her parents know that you guys are going to be opening up a new location. And let's get back into that. We're running short on time here. The whole reason that we're here is to talk about this new location. Where are you located? What is the name of your bakery? And what are the details of this event?
It's Rebel Rise GF Bistro and Bakery. We are located in Rockbrook Village. Most people know where Garden Cafe was. We are in that same space. We don't have the full like 9,000 square feet. We have a little bit more than half of it, um, or less than half of it, I guess, 4,000 square feet. Anyhow, we are we're hoping to open by August 15th. That's our like official grand opening. But on the 29th, we have the VIP customer appreciation and Rockbrook Village, 11039 Elm Street.
There's a lot of good places over there in Rockbrook. I've been out there a few times, Casanova's, Great Harvest, there's a lot of places out there. And there's just some places that have moved in and moved out, so I actually did some work for Rockbrook last year to promote some of their businesses out there. So, where can people find you
Amazing.
social wise?
Find me at Rebel Rise GF on Instagram. You can also on Facebook find us Rebel Rise GF, same thing. And I'm Beth Gregory. You can also find me on my Facebook. But what I wanted to really highlight was this is an experience. So come experience the new location, kind of like the vibe, the feel. It's going to be unlike anything else in Omaha, I believe. I haven't seen anything like it. I'm from California. I love the islands. I love like the kind of chill, like home vibe of just like that welcoming feeling. And I hope that you'll join me there and just have a different experience where you can like literally eat.
Well, that is wonderful. And I'm glad that you threw that little part in there about being from California too, because I was going to ask you, because I'm like, you're definitely not from Nebraska. Like I can hear the little, I was like, I'm not sure where it's from, but it's not Nebraska that I'm hearing coming out of your mouth. So, uh, but there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Please be sure to follow her on Instagram, Facebook, Rebel Rise. Like Rebel Rise. That's a cool name too. Check them out. She's got a lot of great photos on her pages, so you can check out some of the food. And hopefully you can stop out to their new location coming in August, hopefully.
July 29th, though, the big event.
But yes, July 29th, the big event. And this will be out before July 29th. So make sure you go out and check out what she's got going on over there at the bakery. You might see me out there. I don't know. I'm going to get out there at some point. So
There you are.
um, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff on YouTube. And wherever you're taking in the audio podcast, we're out there. The podcast is out there. What's up, Omaha? Smile, help someone else smile, laugh and help someone else laugh all day, every day. Beth, thank you so much for being on.